in my neighborhood. They live in Amsterdam in a different part. So I need a little travel time built in. Is what
we need to make this a choose your adventure situation.
Okay,
What we'll do is we'll post the responses and we'll give them like a day to give us like 4 different directions we can go with this. Then we'll translate and respond.
Okay, all right. We need a business meeting. We'll set that up. We'll make a path. We'll write the story.
That is awesome.
What about you?
So I went to the grocery store and I always go to the seafood department deli spot. And the guys are always super friendly. And there's definitely, you can always tell when you're like, okay, there's definitely conversations behind the counter that go on after I leave, because there's always like a tone that happens. Well, I'm usually have one AirPod in, one out, so I can hear what I'm listening to and still carry on a normal conversation. And so this time I have both in, but nothing's on as I go to get to the counter.
Right.
And so I order some salmon, and the guy, who looks like he's probably about 48 or so, looks at me with a straight face and says, "So you like it from behind, right?" And
how did you know?
I do a slow intentional blink and just realize, okay, just yes, sir, is what I said.
Better than yes, daddy.
And I look over, and then he turns around to go cut the salmon. And I look over to this young guy who's probably about 22. As I kind of look down and kind of cringe a little bit, I look up and I catch his eye, and he was like, and I go, "Yeah, I know." And he goes, "I don't think he knows what he just said." I'm like, it's really fine, because you either want it from the head or the tail, like whatever.
Sure.
And so, but what made it worse?
I don't think you referencing from the head or the tail cleared that up at all.
Of the fish, I know, of the fish.
Oh, okay. See, no.
So the guy goes over, he's like, "Dude, do you know what you just said?" And he goes, "She can't hear me. She has her AirPods in."
Oh, so he knew.
And then the young guy looks at me, and I was like, yeah, he knows based on my facial expressions and our eyes linking that I heard it. And I'm like, let me just get my fucking fish and move on. And let's just stop this.
Let's just pretend that didn't happen.
Yeah. Oh my. So
gotta love that. Those mistaken moments.
Yeah. So
bless the earbuds.
While you were in Croatia, or right before you left, we had an awesome brainstorm meeting with Terry from Lex and Terry. And then Brian and I also had a meeting while you were in Croatia. And Terry said, you guys are almost ready for sponsorships. So Brian and I thought we should maybe have, kind of prep for whenever we do have commercials. So I wrote a commercial, and Brian has not seen it yet. So we are going to go ahead and test this out on what maybe a commercial would sound like.
Okay, great.
Right.
Well, today's episode is not officially brought to you by Thin-X Panties. Thin-X Panties, the period proof. Are you fucking kidding me? The period-proof panty. These period-proof undies hold up to 2 tampons worth, yet they look and feel regular, just like regular underwear. Join the sustainable movement. For your movement, think of Thin-X Panties during our next cycle, and check them out on thinx.com. Are you kidding?
I can't.
Good job, Brian.
That was very professional. I really enjoyed that.
Nice, Jenny. I appreciate you. And holy crap, they have a website. They really do have a website. This is a real thing. Oh.
Yeah, they're hey, the next hit us up. I feel like we did a bang up job. We could do better, but
we know you're on Instagram. I see you all the time.
Yes.
They have a YouTube. They have a commercial. Okay, I'm going to watch this commercial.
Sure.
Well, right now. So let's jump into the unknown, well, not unknown, but the uncut, and let's go into let's just go deep into that. So I was doing a little show prep. My mother came into town and I asked her, hey, in Jewish cultures, keep in mind she's the Catholic one, in Jewish cultures, why do they do a bris? And a bris is a ceremony of a circumcision, and it's done on the 8th day, and it's to get you closer to God and all that good stuff.
That's interesting.
And she goes, well, funny you should ask. When we were pregnant with you, you were hiding yourself in a little can, so we couldn't tell what you were. And my grandparents were having conversations with her on how they were going to handle the circumcision and what her level of comfort would be. Now, yeah, Brian. Now,
I don't understand the hiding yourself thing.
I was tucked in a ball, so in an ultrasound, you couldn't tell if I was a girl or a boy. So they were like,
because you need a certain angle for, at that time, the development. You need that certain angle, and right.
Yeah. So I mean, I was just tucked, so you couldn't tell. Like my legs were covering. I was very modest. So even in womb,
we see that's carried over.
Yeah,
adulthood.
So I guess my grandmother and grandfather were having discussions on if I was a boy, how we were going to handle the 8th day. And they informed her. And I think after doing research, I think they were just fucking with her a little bit. So they said, well, we can do a bris. We'll have a rabbi, blah, blah, blah. And we'll have everyone. And my mom's like, what? And I guess they had made mention of, at least we're not Orthodox or Hasidic Jew, because those rabbis do a oral circumcision.
What?
And my mom says some rabbis remove the foreskin with their teeth.
No.
Now, I did a little bit of research, and I think they were fucking with her with the teeth thing because God bless my new computer that's probably all screwed up now. I can't find any circumcisions removed with teeth. However, they do an oral suction for circumcisions.
I don't.
Where they will remove the foreskin, and then the rabbi, it's to draw out the blood. I'm not sure.
I cannot put these pieces together right now.
Yeah. So what kind of brought this?
They're chewing somebody's foreskin off with their teeth.
Okay.
I looked really hard. I don't think I don't know if I think they were just screwing with her, but they do the oral part where they suck the blood out. And there are 2 ways you can do it, either with like a straw thing, maybe that it's not getting in your mouth. But I definitely watched a video where a rabbi took a drink of wine, then sucked, and then they put a cloth with cumin on the wound. So that's all delightful and not like really what our normal podcast is about, is education.
Yeah, but this is not what people were expecting when they read the cut or uncut title.
Cassie would be happy to never ever hear this conversation ever again. Like, this is not what I was expecting.
Yeah. So I just wanted to give you a little back. Yeah.
I want to climb back into my TARDIS and pretend that this never happened and go back 10 minutes, because I just feel very unnerved and raw by all this information right now.
So I'll have links to those if you want to check this out later.
Why would we do that? Don't expose more people to this, please.
If it makes you feel better, a couple years ago in New York, a infant contracted herpes by this act, and yeah, so
that's so much better. Good job.
So liberating.
Okay, so go ahead, Cassie. You warm us up.
So let me just move past this moment. So we were going to talk about the uncut for those people that have not had to suffer from oral circumcision or any practices related to that. as an adult woman dealing with the uncut penis over time, most of my friends, we've had conversations from younger, I'm referencing conversations from when we were younger, before you've actually seen one to when you've actually experienced one. And most women don't know how to approach the conversation or the act of working with an uncut dick, I found. I don't know what your friends think, but most of them are like, oh, what'd you do? You're like, well, Karen, I fucking sat on it. That's what it's there for. Like, what did you do? It's a normal penis. It just looks a little different. Like, it's not that bad. That all said, in my experiences as an adult woman, I've experienced 6 to 8 of them. And I found that I don't want to use the word prefer, but I do like very much when a man is uncut. And that's not to say that uncut men don't do it for me. It's totally fine. But, cut men. Uncut men, though, just tend to last a little bit longer. They're obviously thicker. There's more there. As long as they're practicing hygiene, I find that the sex is just as good, if not better, a lot of the times through those 6 to 8 men that I've experienced since I've been an adult and was not the young girl afraid of them. What about you? Have you experienced them? What are your thoughts?
I did give the religious background based on the fact that growing up, I just assumed the majority of people I would run into were circumcised.
Sure.
That's kind of what I thought. So I'm in college, and this is the second and last time I ever talked to my girlfriends about the size of someone's penis or any details. I should have learned my lesson the first time, but I definitely learned my lesson the second time. So I break up with a boyfriend. I go to this party, and this guy and I had innocently flirted where I didn't really know how interested he was. And so the party kind of wraps up, and we go up to his bedroom, and he is tall. He's Italian, but not like our friend Sarah's Italian. Like,
okay,
he's not full blown. He's just like, his parents are Italian. And
he can say he's Italian.
Yeah, he can say he's Italian, but I don't think he would understand Italian.
Sure.
So he was probably 6'3", a pretty skinny guy to where I just kind of thought, let's see what happens. But I had really low expectations. So we go up to his room, and I go into my traditional probably 19-year-old routine of, hey, I'm going to go down on you and like to start things off. And I get down there, and he does not warn me at all. And I think that's got to be awkward for a guy to be like, hey, when you get down there, like I don't think there's a really good opening, but I've
never been warned, to be fair.
Okay.
I've never been warned.
But I feel like they're probably like sitting there like, ooh, what is she going to do when she sees? Because I think everyone knows it's like there's 2 options with, the folding of your dick.
And when you live in the States, you're assuming most people you encounter are cut.
Yeah. So I'm a little drunk, and what? In college? What?
Huh.
And I get down there, and I'm like, holy shit, did he get bit by something? Is this an allergic reaction? Like, what is this?
This mosquito bite makes you grow extra skin. Super weird. It's from the Amazon. Don't worry.
I'm like blinking like 4 times fast. Like, I'm just like, God, am I that drunk that like this thing looks different? Like, I wasn't even thinking there was a possibility he would be uncircumcised. And so like, I'm like messing around with it, and I'm like not realizing like to pull the skin down just yet. I'm like licking, and I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? All right. So I just fold this down, and it's just, nobody prepares you for this.
No.
I mean, it's one of the things that when we thought of like this podcast, I was like, okay, one day my daughter may encounter, I don't want to have that conversation, but
totally,
we can just send this to her. Like, if she's
it's good to have a heads up.
Yeah. So I like pull it down and I'm like, okay, just muster it up. Okay, this is probably what it is.